Starting with Unit 2 of NCERT, Indian Economic Development, India's Development Experience 1950 to 1990. As you already know that the first 3 units, that is Indian economy on the eve of independence, India's development experience from 1950 to 1990, and economic reforms of 1991, gives the plans and policies of the path of development of Indian subcontinent and its economy during the entire period of time after independence. And these 3 units carry 12 marks. Remember, children, there is no clear-cut demarcation of these 12 marks. Reforms can come for 8 marks. This can come for 3 marks. Indian economy on eve of independence can come for 3 marks, or 6 plus 3 plus 3, or it can come in any way possible. Okay, these marks are not very much stipulated for each of these chapters. Only remember that 12 marks is there for these 3 chapters. So we are starting with India's development experience 1950 to 1990. Now you are going to ask me a very logical question. Ma'am, India got independence in 1947. 3 साल कर क्या रहे थे हम लोग? 1950 में क्यों शुरू हुआ? 1950 से डिस्कशन क्यों हो रहा है? You have to understand one thing, children. When India got independence, there was rampant riot due to partition. Also, the Indian government, okay, specifically the architect being, our great Iron Man of India, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who had to consolidate India, asking the native states to join us. And there were problems, like the Maharaja of Travancore wanted to be with the British. The Nizam of Hyderabad wanted to be with Pakistan, but it is not possible, right? So this entire process of partition, bringing all the native states within India's administrative system, so all these things, the law and order issues, these things took some time. So basically, as soon as the constitution was actually formulated and India became a republic on 26th of January 1950, also at the same point of time, the planning commission was set up, architect being Professor Prashant Chandra Mahalanobis or PC Mahalanobis, was the greatest statistician of that particular point of time. He was a very, very close, comrade, you can say, of Rabindranath Tagore as well. And one more thing, he was also the classmate, not actually classmate, he was actually the same hostel mate in Cambridge with Professor Ramanujan as well. So anyway, the chairman of the planning commission being Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, because that was the system, that whoever becomes the prime minister will be the chairman of the planning commission. And as I told you, that India started a mixed economic system. Why mixed economic system? Because as soon as the World War II ended, all right, and the superpowers wanted to take more and more countries under their ideological, economic, and military influences, so the Allied forces that comprised of United States and Soviet Russia, they fought together in the World War II, and they approached Germany to get it rid of the Nazis. Okay, so but they approached from United States from the west and the Soviet Russia from the east. All right, but we have to understand, even though these 2 countries were aligned in the Second World War, they were ideologically very different. United States being a capitalist economy and communist economy was the Soviet Russia. So all the western part of Europe, starting from West Germany, all right, they came under the influence of United States of America, formed a military pact called the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO. You hear it very often. During the Ukraine war also you heard about NATO, but it was formed during that time. And from the eastern side, as USSR approached and brought all the countries of Eastern Europe under the communist dominance, communist ideological dominance, they formed the military alliances called Warsaw Pact. But Jawaharlal Nehru with India, Abdel Nasser with Egypt, the countries which were just decolonized, they did not want to be with either of the superpowers. The superpowers tried, but they did not want to be aligned with any superpowers. Rather, they started non-aligned movement, or NAM. That means we will be taking strategic help from both the superpowers, but we are not going to be exclusively aligned with any one of them in order to maintain our sovereignty. That was the motto. So in our country, our political ancestors were very impressed, by the democracy of United States, and private ownership of property, which was already there in India. It could not be changed. So these two characteristics came from the capitalistic economy, and from the communist bloc came that all the important industries like nuclear power, transport, communication, in our country, railways, and then hazardous chemicals. All right, and not only that, the heavy industries or the capital goods industries like oil refineries, thermal power stations, mining companies, iron and steel companies. All right, Coal India, Steel Authority of India Limited. Okay, so like this, all the heavy industries or infrastructural industries will be state owned. That is, will be public sector units or government dominance in important industries and industries of strategic value. Clear? And also another thing, that is centralized planning of the communist bloc. Why centralized planning? See, India at the time of independence had problems in 6 different aspects. You already know about it. Agriculture stagnated, industry, no industry, foreign trade monopolized by British, occupational structure, severe regional imbalance, demographic profile, 16% literacy, and coming to infrastructure, other than railway, practically no infrastructure to call our own. So basically, in this situation, there are so many things on our plate that India could not eat everything together. So we had to plan that first 5-year plan for agricultural reform, second 5-year plan for industrial reform, so on and so forth. Seventh 5-year plan, very important for us, human capital formation. So basically, this centralized planning was necessary in order to address all the thousands and infinite problems that India already had. So one after the other has to be addressed to. And the time period given for each of these reforms were 5 years. Sometimes it happened that, other than 5 years, certain plans were for 1 year, called annual plan. Certain years were without any plan. We call it plan holiday. But it is also true, that after 2014, the Planning Commission was scraped off. Right now there is no existence of Planning Commission. In its place came Niti Aayog, that is National Institute of Transforming India. First CEO being Amitabh Kant. Anyway, so now what we have to understand is that the Planning Commission put forward 2 things: plan, planning, or perspective plan. Plan and planning. Just one ing. What's the difference? Huge difference. Plan means the set of work one is supposed to do within a short specified period of time, like short period objectives of each 5-year plan. Okay? Each 5-year plans were actually adopted to reach the ultimate goal of the long run, which is perspective plan or planning, spanning over a huge period of time to reach the ultimate goals of growth, equity, self-reliance, and modernization. Now you have to understand one thing: what is the difference between objectives and goals? Objectives are aims for the short period of time. What is the meaning of that? You want to become a CA. You want to become a financial analyst. What do you have to do? You have to do well in your 11th, you have to do well in your 12th, you have to do well in your undergrad, you have to clear your CA prelims, you have to have a very good grade in your graduation, post-graduation. These are objectives. What is the ultimate goal? Perspective planning. That is to become a CA or to become an analyst, right? So these goals of planning, that is growth, equity, self-reliance, modernization. Each of these comes for 3 marks: growth, continuous increase in the GDP of the country through infrastructural industries, other infrastructure, as well as capital goods. Equity, provision of all the healthcare, education, subsidies, benefits to the poor, such that they can live the life of achieving basic necessities like the affluent people of the country. This is called equity. Now here you have to understand between equality and equity. What is equality? Anil Ambani, Nilanjana. Okay. Anil Ambani is getting a benefit of 20,000 crores. Nilanjana is also getting a benefit of 20,000 crores. This is equality. But if I have to lead a life like Anil Ambani, if that is the standard, basic standard, then 20,000 crores is not enough for me. I have to be given 50,000 at least. This is equity. Got my point? So equity, self-reliance. India should become self-dependent in agriculture, in industry, such that we do not have to import goods and threaten our sovereignty and save the very important foreign exchange for the most essential commodities that India cannot produce, like oil. Modernization. India has to become a modern economy. Mechanization in agriculture, sophisticated technology in industries. This is economic modernization. Most importantly, social modernization. That India should be a country free from any superstition, free from gender bias, free from caste and creeds, a completely superstition-free economy where everyone is equal.